Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So they just posted the Oscar nominees, so I thought it'd be fun to do a reaction video. Generally, I don't think of the Oscars too seriously. I don't take it too seriously. I think of it more as a reminder for all the awesome movies that I did not see during the year. Like the whole list of nominees is just judging me for not having seen them. There are a lot of movies that got nominated, so I'll mention a couple really important ones that I think you should check out in case you missed them too. We should say up front though, the Oscars, all award shows in general, complete bullshit. They're not designed as much to recognize talent as they are to sell television advertising. So if a movie you really like didn't get nominated, don't freak out. The way people vote on the nominees is ridiculous. There's actually a really good Mental Floss article that describes it in great detail, like in excruciating detail, so I'll add a link in the description. There was also this episode of South Park, the Funnybot episode, that beautifully describes the way you should feel about award shows. It's all about the speech that Funnybot has at the end. They defeat him with the logic problem by giving him a comedy award in recognition of his achievement. It's such a perfect speech. I'll play the audio right here.
For what purpose is Comedy Award?
It's a validation of all your efforts, an acknowledgement of all you do in the pursuit of humor.
Non sequitur, there is no logic in Comedy Award. Unable to process. If I accept, it means I take comedy seriously. If I take comedy seriously, I am not comedian. Non sequitur must analyze.
So yeah, that's the perfect way to think about award shows in your head. It's not just comedy awards, it's all award shows in general. So my big reactions, totally not surprised about Birdman and Michael Keaton being at the top of the mentions. Birdman Best Picture, Michael Keaton Best Actor. I know I didn't do a review for him, but it's one of the best small movies of the year. I think Guardians of the Galaxy was probably my favorite big movie. I try not to lump everything together whenever I get super judgy about movies and TV, just because most things are made for very specific audiences, and award shows are made to be very broad. I think the biggest bummer is that the Lego movie totally got snubbed. One of the directors, Phil Lord, posted this picture on Twitter. Probably my favorite reaction. This is probably like the best Oscars reaction. There was some backlash over Selma being snubbed in the Best Actor category. David Oyelowo played Martin Luther King Jr. He had this amazing performance. He's actually on Star Wars Rebels. He plays this character. This is probably who a lot of you know him as. People are complaining that the Oscars have been whitewashed. I feel like that's a problem that's endemic to Hollywood films in general, so it's not a new problem. This happens all the time. So here's like the Cliff's Notes for movies that you really have to see that are going to be talked about a lot at the Oscars. First off is Birdman. Really funny, really dark. It totally makes fun of Michael Keaton's Batman films. They even did this parody ad that really laid into the original trailer for Batman Forever.
In a world of darkness, in a time of chaos, the only hope to save a city is a hero who flies in the face of evil. 1992 is the year of the Bird-Man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Regan Thompson in Birdman Returns.
That was the movie that made Michael Keaton leave the Batman franchise. He saw the script and was like, this blows, peace, I'm out of here, see ya. Foxcatcher, another super intense, super dark story with Channing Tatum, Steve Carell, and the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo. Steve Carell's up for Best Actor and Mark Ruffalo's up for Best Supporting Actor. I always like checking out the Avengers whenever they do really small, interesting movies. So if you ever wondered why there's so much talk about them getting tired of playing big characters, like why Mark Ruffalo doesn't talk about the Hulk all the time. I mean, people ask him about the Hulk all the time, but usually he likes to talk about his other stuff. It's mostly because the small stuff they do allows them way more creative freedom. They get a lot more authorship. Every once in a while, like everything comes together in a really amazing way and you get a Birdman or a Foxcatcher. Those are two extreme examples of like really small movies that ended up being as fun as a big comic book movie. So moving down the list, I'm assuming everyone saw the Lego movie like 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4, then bought the DVD. So we're good on that one. If you missed Ben Affleck and David Fincher's Gone Girl, that's totally okay. It's a really weird movie. People are going to be talking about it a lot, but if you want a good barometer for Ben Affleck in Batman vs. Superman, I think a better movie of his to see is probably The Town, which he starred in with Hawkeye. That's actually the movie that earned Jeremy Renner the role of Hawkeye in Avengers, by the way. David Fincher and Ben Affleck are actually re-teaming up this year, like the same production team, to do a new version of Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train. So I'm more excited about that than I am about Gone Girl. There were a ton of great animated films that were nominated. Studio Ghibli's last big film, Princess Kaguya, that's something you absolutely have to check out just on principle. I mean, it's a good movie too. It's an amazing movie. Just looking at the sales figures, I'm assuming everybody also saw How to Train Your Dragon 2 and Big Hero 6. I'm behind on Box Trolls. I actually still haven't seen that yet too, but you guys need to see that. Everyone totally saw Guardians of the Galaxy, so no need to worry about that. It was one of the true comic book movies that got nominated, and it was in the makeup and vis effects categories. Comic book movies in general usually only win awards for technical achievements. Even Christopher Nolan got snubbed all the time for his Batman films. Critically, the ones that do stand out are the ones that look and feel very different, very unique. That's actually one of the reasons why I like Guardians of the Galaxy more than Winter Soldier. Plus, I have a bias for space opera, which I'm totally willing to admit. Here's my big question for you guys. Scanning the list of all the nominees, which of your favorite movies actually made the list? I'll add a link to my Tumblr with like a full breakdown in case you haven't seen the list of nominees yet. I'm not planning on doing any big Oscar videos, but I will consider it. So if you guys really want some Oscar stuff, I'll try to do some whenever they actually do the awards. I am working on Game of Thrones and Star Wars for tomorrow, so new Game of Thrones, new Star Wars coming. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. I know everyone's talking about Suicide Squad this morning too, because Tom Hardy dropped out. He was playing the Rick Flag character. I'm sure somewhere in the distance, Jake Gyllenhaal's phone is ringing off the hook. David Ayer doing Suicide Squad. He also directed End of Watch, which Jake Gyllenhaal was the star of. So I'm assuming that he is on David Ayer's shortlist. And when you look at him, he looks like a good stand-in for Tom Hardy anyway, physically. Right now, in case you haven't seen it, you can click here for my Avengers Q&A from yesterday. I answer who some of those mystery characters are. And you can click here to start getting ready for Arrow and the Flash, which come back next week. So thanks so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you tomorrow.